and welcome to Save the Villainess's demo. I hope you are all extremely excited about this. I streamed this, unfortunately, due to, copyright concerns, we can't have the music on this except for the opening song, which is why I left that in here for you all to enjoy, because it's amazing. So, we're gonna go ahead, and we're gonna jump in and get going. This is an amazing game, an amazing demo, and I love it so much. Shall we begin? My season of birth is full. A fall birth? What lovely scents, soil, leaves, and decaying flesh. Regardless of your unfortunate birth, we must move onwards. What is that? Do you feel that something is lacking? You would like some way to make this more about you. Very well. Your tastes are the highest priority. So, I do really like spaghetti, so I put in spaghetti as my food of choice because it is like my favorite food to just make. It's a comfort food and that sort of thing. Whether it be sauce the color of blood or cream, you prefer your food to resemble pieces of a carved up body. I approve. You have exquisite taste, in your mouth anyway. Were you expecting more questions? More focus on your desires? That time has passed, after all. Yours is not the only story. Not the only story. The only story. Your story. Chapter 1. Wheel of Fortune. The purpose of existence is that one should become conscious. Carl Jung. Maybe Jung? I might be mispronouncing his last name. That's the Americanness, I think. Well, what would you wish the world to be shaped by? Collaboration or justice? Let's try collaboration. So you wish to work by consensus. Take care which voices you value and which you ignore. Oh, his cup is gone. Oh, he's gone. Okay. What do you do when faced with a challenging problem? I'm gonna create my own path. There are more ways to solve a problem if you have no restrictions. If you do not mind what other problems are created along the way. Goodbye. Which is more important to you? To love yourself and your own strength. Loving and respecting yourself can help you overcome many trials. Are you willing to extend that love and respect to others as well? Oh, they're back. Yay, save the Villainess. Where am I? Who am I? And why am I in a strangely moving carriage? A strangely moving carriage with comfortable seat cushions. Very comfortable seat cushions. I almost feel as though this carriage is resting on elephants. Elephants atop an even bigger tortoise as it slowly swims through space. No, I will not be distracted. Why do I not remember anything? After all, while I know that I sleep soundly, this entire situation is very strange. Hold on, I do remember something. I know that I sleep soundly. Unfortunately, that is not exactly the most useful knowledge to remember. Perhaps I can recall something else if I think deeply? What else do I remember? I know that I can catch feet fish with my amazing dancing skills, but this fact is not going to be useful to me right now. I have more immediately important things I need to remember. For one, what kind of person was I? Why am I traveling somewhere in a slow-moving carriage on lush, comfortable, yet oddly ominous cushions? And why is my neck so sore? If I reach up to touch it... That is a lot of blood. Well, now I have another question. Why is my hand covered in blood when I touch my neck? Is someone trying to kill me right now? Are these incredibly large cushions murder weapons? Why do I know how to murder someone with a cushion? I have to calm down. If I'm going to survive and determine what is happening, I have to be serene. Which is hard to do when my neck is covered in blood. Serene. Think serene thoughts. At least my head is still attached to my strangely sore neck. Because apparently I know what it would be like to have my head not be attached to my neck. This is not helping my serenity. Serene. I am serene. I have a head. I have a neck. They are delightfully connected. I have to keep my head. Losing my head would be fatal, figuratively and literally. I am vulnerable, injured, and cannot remember anything remotely useful. I need to find some information that can help me. Even if this carriage is moving strangely, something has to be making it move. I can hear the horses pulling it, and if horses are pulling it, someone must be guiding them. So if I yell out the window... That is odd. The window does not appear to open. Perhaps if I yell loudly, the driver will hear me? Hello, Mr. Carriage Driver? Could you please tell me where we are going? He's not answering me. Well, if the driver is not doing his job properly, I suppose he would choose not to answer me. So I've realized with my extensive memory of about 10 minutes, if you want to get something done, do it yourself. So what should I investigate first? We're not gonna do the tutorial because I know what I need to do. Like, I know how to do this. And I'm sure you are all very intelligent and will get it very quickly. So what should I investigate first? Have we really looked at our hands? Also, where'd the blood go? I know I was injured earlier and had blood on both my right hand and my neck. Perhaps I can learn more by looking closely at my hands? My head also feels like it was split in two, and I want to know why. A good place to start would be for me to find the source of the blood that was on my hands when I touched my head and neck. So let me see if my right hand has any clues for me. This does not make any sense. There was blood on my hand. I know there was. I just need to touch my neck again. This is bizarre. Not only is the blood without a source, there no longer seems to be any blood at all. I cannot feel any injuries. I cannot even detect any bandages or stitches to stop the bleeding I felt. Even the blood that was there earlier is gone now. My hand and neck are completely clean. Even if I could heal in minutes, the blood on top of the wound should still be there. I do not understand what is happening, but I do have another hand. Perhaps that hand will not betray me. So what does my left hand have to offer? Well, this hand has no blood on it, imaginary or otherwise. I have neither calluses nor scarring. I have also never dug dirt with these nails. These are not the hands of someone who spent a lot of time using them for anything other than gesturing. I feel as if whoever I am liked crooking fingers at people. The finger crooking muscle is well developed. But why is there a faded circle around the bottom of my fourth finger? We must have removed a long-worn ring. So the butterfly's colors will tell you if you've made the correct choice or not the correct choice. Purple is good. Why would I have a ring mark on the fourth finger of my left hand unless... Was I engaged? Married? Unless this is the plot of a very naughty book, I am not sure that a lover would have tossed me half naked and injured into a carriage by myself. At the very least, one would think I would still have a ring or some sign of their support. I'm deeply afraid that my taste in lovers was very much like the state of my body right now. They both stink. So what should I investigate? Alright, so we've taken a look at her hands. What does her dress have for us? Well, I will definitely not be able to find anything in my pockets. Because I do not appear to have pockets. Unfortunately, this dress is even more mysterious than the lack of pockets. Why is someone riding in a beautiful carriage wearing something like this? The biggest mystery is, how did I not become naked trying to walk in this outfit? How are these rags staying on my body? Still, I need to solve my immediate problem. Why am I riding in this fancy carriage while we're wearing this dissolving outfit? This dress looks like something that has survived numerous attempts to destroy it and then was used to birth several puppies. Hungry puppies. My head also hurts. Was I in this dress while it was attacked by hungry puppies? Was that something from one of the books I used to read? So apparently I read. That is probably useful to know. In fact, this dress looks like something a beggar from a book would wear. But when I look closer, this dress appears to have once been very beautiful. This was not cheaply made. This dress also appears to have been damaged not just by wear, but by force. The dress and I have also not been washed for weeks based on this overwhelming smell. If I am in this fancy carriage, why could I not change out of this ragged dress? What happened to me? Could not change because we were a prisoner? Because there's no way a poor person would be in a dress like this. Based on the original quality of the dress, this was not made for someone who was poor. This was a dress made for a wealthy woman. Why is it in such terrible condition? Was I kept in a place where I could not clean myself or change into something else? A place like a prison? I certainly feel tired and hurt enough to have been imprisoned. Hopefully I'm not being moved from one prison to another. Even more importantly, I hope that wherever this carriage is going, they will allow me to wash myself and my dress. Although I'm not sure either of us will survive water at this point. So, what should I investigate? Alright, so we got 2 more spots, I think. Yeah. Let's try looking outside. Surely I can learn something useful from where we are traveling. Let's see what the curtains are hiding. Very pretty. Okay. Opening the curtain and staring out the side window was not my most useful idea. There are many trees, but even with those strangely flickering lights, it's too foggy and dark to see much of anything else, including the front of the carriage. Someone must be driving me, but there's something very strange about the way we're moving. The carriage is moving so slowly that I cannot feel the ground moving beneath us. It almost feels as if we're going back and forth in the same place. The driver has also never spoken to me, even when I yelled to get his attention. Should I be concerned? Well, let's be a little concerned we did not hire this driver. As beautiful as this carriage is, it obviously belongs to someone with a lot of money. I do not seem like the kind of person who would own this carriage. And the driver is not treating me as if I am paying his wages. Servants listen to the person who is paying them. If the driver is not listening to me, he might not have my best interests in mind. And that brings us to the cushions. Cushions cannot be this beautiful and this terrifying without having secrets hidden in them. I will find everything you are hiding from me, even if I have to rip you apart by hand. There should be battle music. When you get to play this yourself, there will be battle music. It is exceptional. We have 11 determination. The cushions are unmoved. How shall we ever defeat them? We must continue. Attack! The cushions loom ominously. Oh? Go, go, human hand. The cushions are too ominous. Are we in danger? Defeated. Again. Rude. These cushions are both beautiful and made of material much stronger than me. I've been defeated by cushions. Perhaps there is something I can learn from this experience. These cushions must be wildly expensive, like this carriage. Its ornaments contain enough gold to fund a small nation. Whoever I am, I know when something is expensive, even though, based on my condition, I am not an expensive person. Therefore, it is not my beautiful carriage. This is not my beautiful ride. This carriage belongs to a wealthy owner, someone I do not remember taking me to a place I do not know. Yet why would this owner of the expensive carriage want to provide comfort to me? The cushions are either a trap or we're being taken from where we were harmed. Let's try this one. Yay, purple butterfly. I was injured, ragged, and about one gust of wind from being blown away into the sky before getting on this carriage. I was not well enough to sneak onto this carriage, and I could not have gotten in here by accident. Another reason that I could not have sneaked into this carriage is that even though the driver does not seem to care about me, he must know that I am here. I even called out to him. That means that someone has deliberately placed me in this carriage and on these cushions. That means that someone removed me from the place where I had been harmed to put me on these terrifyingly comfortable cushions, even though I look and feel as ragged as my dress. The person who brought me here, my patron, did not treat my injuries or provide me with new clothes or a bath, but perhaps they thought the cushions would cure me. Would anyone notice if I took the cushions with me when I left? They are the only support I have right now. So what should I investigate? I don't think there's anything left. Oh. Well, when I investigate my body, my feet hurt enough for me to wonder whether or not they're still attached. The good news is that my feet are still attached to the rest of my body. The bad news is that there is definitely a reason for my feet to be hurting. It's her feet. It's her toesies. Also, ow! I hate disrespecting the ominous cushions, but this is the only place with enough light to see my feet. Unfortunately, not only are my feet filthy, there's a strange inconsistent bruising around my ankles. The bruises hurt and seem to be recent based on the colors. How did I get a ring of bruises around my ankles? Something was attached to us. And up she goes again onto the cushions. I love the little motions that she does. No matter how hard I grip my ankles, I could not possibly create this kind of damage. This looks like something was attached to my ankles. Something that was heavy and hard enough to badly bruise them. Was I shackled? What happened to me? More importantly, how did someone with heavy shackles on their ankles manage to get out of those shackles? So, what would be the one job I could have had that would allow me to be in and out of shackles regularly? If I'm a failed magician, I'm going to be very angry. What to investigate? I think... I don't... Oh, no more investigation, time to deduce. Okay, that's what it is. I've realized. Do you wish to learn what a lock is? Yeah, because I've forgotten. You have such a short time for life. Death comes so very quickly. You've made the choice to spend this short time relearning what a lock is. No more choices for you. I've learned my lesson. Left to your own devices, you will choose to fight cushions multiple times. I must find a way to convince you to make better choices. Do you understand what this is? No, not the concept of not knowing what you're doing. Do you understand what this is? This is a lock. L-O-C-K. What does a lock do? Yes, it locks. In this case, one of your options is locked. Because of your previous terrible choices, the path that would have proceeded to a better future is closed to you. Should you make clever choices, or rather if the Villainess makes clever choices, a better path will be unlocked and available. Wait, do not be so eager to ignore the path that will end in failure. In a world of many possibilities, there are some things you can only learn when all hope is lost. Will you lock yourself to the story you most want to hear? Or can you open yourself to the truth? I've realized we're in incredible danger. While I might not remember my name, I certainly remember power. Unfortunately, I also know that I currently have none. I was injured and imprisoned, lost a long-term engagement or marriage, and am currently traveling to an unknown location surrounded by ominously comfortable cushions. However, this is not how I always lived. I was obviously once wealthy. My clothes are only still attached to my body because they were made of fine, expensive material. How else could they survive both prison and hungry puppies? On the literal other hand, my poor fingers have obviously never faced a choice more serious than which servant to crook my pointer finger at before I wound up here. So how did I go from luxury to misery in this beautiful carriage? After using my investigative genius, I can safely say it is because I used to be someone with wealth and spectacular taste in lace. Yet I was somehow imprisoned by powerful enemies, possibly because they were offended by my sense of style. However, someone with even more power and a greater respect for lacework rescued me out of prison and placed me in their expensive carriage. This is information I can use to survive. Or at least I could use this information if I was not trapped on a carriage ride to nowhere with a driver who refuses to speak to me. I just need a moment to think. She's so pretty. Goodbye, butterfly. Oh, welcome back, butterfly. Goodbye again, butterfly. Goodbye for real this time? Oh, no, you're coming back. Okay. Oh, the butterfly is healing us, it looks like? Goodbye for real this time, butterfly. Thank you for healing us. We appreciate you. I could have sworn I saw a light in the window. Am I imagining things? For a moment I felt more real and less like a creature lost in a strange dream. More importantly, was that light someone coming to meet the carriage? That gives me an idea. I know that the patron who pulled me out of prison, had the power to rescue me and put me in this gold-lined carriage. That means my patron must have both money and political power. If only I could borrow some of my patron's power, a power that people obviously respect. Is the carriage stopping? I have a bad feeling about what the driver is planning to do by stopping in the middle of nowhere with no destination in sight. I have no way to protect myself with my dissolving dress and unmovable yet ominous cushions, so I will have to find some other kind of power. With apologies to the revolution, I'm going to have to use the most ancient path to power. Name-dropping the most powerful person I know. Thank goodness you're here, Mr. Driver. I'm glad you came to speak to me about speeding up the pace of our journey. After all, when I look out my window, I can see the light of my patron ahead. My patron is obviously impatient with how slowly we are traveling. At this rate, my patron will be here before you even reach the front of the carriage again, and that would be unfortunate for you. After all, while I support the rights of workers to have needed rests, not all powerful people are so understanding. If my patron is already coming out to meet us, they might be concerned at the delay. Still, no matter what consequences you face for your bravery, I will support you. I'll still be here for the revolution, comrade. Power to the workers who make the country and this carriage run. Did it work? I knew name-dropping the owner of the carriage was the way to survive. The rights of the working class are very important, but sometimes you need to have the power to purchase large carriages to make things happen. Finally, I'm getting somewhere. Perhaps this time I shall even remain conscious. The purpose of existence is that one should become conscious. Carl Jung. Chapter 2. The Tower. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Carl Jung. Do you wish to dwell in dreams? Romance. Love. Betrayal. Happily ever after. Villainess. Okay, that was the big word at the end. There are so many stories that can take you on journeys to your dreams and nightmares. You imagined yourself the heroine in every one of them. Do you remember? Do you remember your sanctuary from a cruel and unforgiving world? Do you remember the hours spent reading until your eyes were so dry you could no longer weep? So many charming stories featuring swooning sweethearts who could overcome all obstacles to their love. You have spent countless hours with perfect princes, icy northern dukes, and charming childhood friends. This is a new part of the demo, I think, that's happening because I played it before. But it's easy enough to leave a story hanging. Can you do the same with your own life? Can you walk away when you are trapped in the story? You may not have realized, but you're trapped in a tale you once knew well. With the power to write your own story, what would you want for yourself? Power, love, or something else entirely? You are alone and you do not know who you are, who or what you can trust. Do you seek to keep that isolation, or will you take the risk to reach out? Above all else, a single wrong choice, a moment of inappropriate hesitation, and you will not live to leave this cursed story. Maybe this isn't new. I am not sure. If you would protest that sweet stories should not have such danger, remember that not everyone in such tales can be loved by the creators. It's been like 2 weeks since I played the demo originally, so... In the magic of storytelling, for the heroine to succeed, there must be something to succeed against. If there is a heroine, there must also be a villain, or a villainess. However, the devil is in the details. All hope is not lost. Perhaps you can shine a light on what is wrong with this world. What is the balance between your sins and your glory? Trust your judgment, or be weighed as undeserving. Shall we remember the tale you have forgotten? Shall it end as it began? The story awaits. Once upon a time, there was a lovely heroine who wanted to be loved. Her golden locks and deep blue eyes showed that she was worthy of the kind of devotion that can only be found in dreams. Though she was but a commoner in a land of noble magicians, her power and beauty made her a flower rising out of the filth of her birth. All those who knew this heroine told her how special she was, and that she was destined to find love with one as special as herself. Yet her beloved was engaged to a wicked noblewoman. Could the heroine capture her beloved's heart and win there happily ever after? First, the heroine had to overcome the most terrifying of opponents, her beloved's fiancé. The Villainess. Does it feel as if you're getting nowhere? There are many stories, many truths in this world. This is the one you need to know now. Lady Jane Neville, who would have thought? She deserves it for harassing that poor commoner. She deserves it for conspiring against the kingdom. She deserves it for pretending she was anything special. Was he not her fiancé, the one the commoner is involved with? Well, he made the obvious choice when you consider Lady Jane's deficits. This is so exciting. Let us see Lady Jane pay. Order! I will have order in this court. I am presiding over this trial, and I will have order. Lady Jane Neville, you stand accused of harassing a promising and productive citizen of the great kingdom of Carcosa. Do you believe yourself to be above the law? Do you understand the seriousness of your situation? You have no defenders. There are no supporters to speak for you, and your own fiancé has... If I might interrupt. Not until the verdict is pronounced. This is an impartial court. Lady Jane must be sentenced to execute... I insist. As the fiancé of Lady Jane Neville, I invoke my legal right to speak to her fate. Proceed. Does the court truly wish to make such a quick decision on her fate? To truly reflect on and understand her actions, she must be removed from the situation. I call for exile. Exile, 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 exile. Order! I will have order! By his right and the laws of Carcosa, the fiancé of Lady Jane Neville has determined her sentence. Lady Jane Neville is hereby condemned to exile. So all this time, you were the one who planned this. My fiancé. My beloved. My betrayer. Exile, 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 exile. Exile for one without support is the same as execute. How attached are you to your head, my lady? What in the name of ominous cushions was that? I think I just barely survived a potential murder attempt from my silent carriage driver. Was that murder attempt connected to my dream? My dream that I became the villainess in a terrible romance novel that I do not remember reading? That would explain why I'm a rag-covered amnesiac who has a strong understanding of guillotines. Obviously, a brilliant woman like me would normally play the role of the heroine, but someone must have decided that the villainess could use my investigative genius. This all means that I'm currently trapped in the body of Lady Jane Neville, a woman whose name has evil written right into it. So if I want to survive, I must use my investigative genius to determine who wants to get rid of Lady Jane. Is everybody an answer? However, if that dream is true, then Lady Jane was mostly loathed by the heroine and Lady Jane's fiancé for being in the way of their romance. I call for exile. Based on that dream, Lady Jane's fiancé obviously wanted her to die miserably in exile, only to have his plans foiled by a patron who broke Lady Jane out of prison. It does not take an investigative genius to see that Lady Jane's fiancé will want her dead if she has somehow escaped exile. Who are these people? How could a high-ranking noblewoman like Lady Jane Neville be imprisoned for bullying in the first place? Who cares? The important thing is that I find a way to survive this bad romance, preferably by smothering all of these people with cushions, once I remember who they are. Serene. I am serene. I am much smarter and better looking than any terrible writer of adulterous romances. I am now Lady Jane Neville, and I will stop any murderous fiancé with both subtlety and my knowledge of bad romance novels. I I just need to get out of this carriage first. I did not mean that I wanted to leave that quickly. Frankly, I would be more eager to stop if I could actually tell where we were stopping. I assume this is not another workers' revolt. Surely the driver cannot behave that suspiciously a second time. Am I meant to leave here? I have so enjoyed our conversations, Mr. Driver. I will miss them wherever it is I am going. I cannot stay in the carriage forever. Let us hope this night holds something of use. The little walking animation is so great. Somehow, this view is even less appealing than it was almost when I saw it through the window. Wait. Are you planning to leave me here? Wherever here is? What am I meant to do now? Hope for enlightenment? Fine then, let there be light. I definitely don't think there was a house behind us. Well, that was not at all ominous. This place is not at all suspicious or murderous. What next? Will the dead now call for me? Come closer. Oop. Did not mean to skip ahead there. Thought I needed to click. I was apparently wrong. Ah, that is much better. I have been waiting for you, Lady Jane Neville. Welcome to the house. So that confirms that the dream was real. I am trapped in the body of a villainess with amazing hair and poor taste in men. It is reassuring to know that someone in this story is both polite and willing to not instantly murder me. Yet if I'm currently this story's villainess, how much can I truly trust this person? I have 1,000 questions to go along with my new name, but I cannot afford to ask any questions unless I am very careful. I must be clever, calm, and in control. I must find the perfect way to respond to this servant's welcome. This is a lovely house. Do people often survive the night here? Yes, for certain definitions of survive. That is very comforting. If by comforting I mean afraid that this is yet another person out to murder me for Lady Jane's past villainy, maybe I should see if I can subtly learn their identity. I assume we will be spending some time together. What should I call you that will not make you want to murder me? I am they who serves. I assume you do not want me to call for they who serves when I am trying to survive the night here? If you are unable to translate serve into a name, servant will serve both of us. Maybe clever is an impossible goal for me right now. So instead, I should say something that sounds like I am a perfectly normal non-villainess who knows how to not be suspicious. If this person is dressed as a servant and I am supposed to be a noble lady, I should say... I don't remember. Okay, we made the right one. Time is too important to waste. So far, I have not been murdered. I would like to continue surviving by asking smart questions and being led to a safe bed. I look forward to you providing me with both answers and pillows. I admire your commitment to knowledge and pillows. Of course, one of these things is more likely to strangle you in your sleep. My pillows will strangle me in my sleep? Not if you have sufficient knowledge. Then I will not let myself be defeated. I will find the information I need. I will spend all night grappling with it if necessary. No matter how hard, no matter how long, I will succeed. I believe in your stamina, my lady. Should you work up an appetite, I am happy to serve. After all, I admire someone who can handle difficulties that are both long and hard. I am unsure if you are just being mysterious or if you are trying to delay before we enter the manor. Time is a terrible thing to waste. Shall we proceed? Let us see this charming house. I hope that it and you will meet all my needs. I hope that we will both provide all that you desire. Welcome, Lady Jane. May you find what you seek. After you. I'm glad the charm is not diminished by the lack of music, but y'all should definitely play this demo for yourselves so you can experience the amazingness of the music. It's so quiet. You startled me. People come and go so quickly around here. People come and go as they must. Whether it is fast or slow is a matter of perspective. No. Perspective is, Oh, look! It's the Axolotl. This is the character, This is the mascot for Best Laid Plans, which is the dev of Save the Villainess. I do not like its teeth. Yes, speed is obviously something that can only be measured by feelings. Much like time. Obviously, I will not be speeding to my bedroom to rest if I cannot stop going around in circles, both literally and figuratively. So what can I say to move things forward? So this is the house? The house? As you can see, my lady, there are no other houses here. Therefore, this is the house. Certainly, everything about this situation is perfectly logical. However, why is the house alone? Why is the house alone? Is it shy? Did the other houses vanish into the fog? These are all excellent ideas, my lady. None of them are correct, but the ideas are excellent. Ideas are priceless here, my lady. Should you keep several spare ideas at all times, you will be well rewarded. I have no idea what I know or do not know at this point. I need to find some information that will help me stay safe while living as Lady Jane Neville. I also need to find a way to earn this servant's trust so that they will support me against my murderous former fiancé. Maybe subtle flattery might help convince them to support me. This is a very lovely house that obviously does not always kill people under mysterious circumstances. Yes, I have said as such. I wish more people would appreciate the beauty of Hardwood. Well, I appreciate Hardwood. I can definitely look around and see how wonderful this house is. Oh, there's a lot of... This is not what I'm used to seeing for ceilings. For instance, this is a perfectly normal ceiling. There's nothing strange about having wall paneling, wainscoting on it. Normal manors often have heavy wooden panels at their ceilings that might unexpectedly fall down at a moment's notice. That is correct, my lady, though I would suggest you be careful where you stand. Why? Is that the secret of the house? Does it destroy people by dropping unexpected wainscoting from the ceiling? That is mostly a matter of timing, and time is always relative. For all that servant speaks of time being relative, I feel that it is running out for me. So what can I do to extend the clock and learn what I need to in order to protect myself? Perhaps I will learn more if I subtly show servant I am trustworthy. Speaking of timing, you can tell me anything at any time. I am very trustworthy. How wonderful that you are very trustworthy. In which case, the secret of the house, yes, is that we barely have the wainscoting under control. What? It is very difficult to tend to places beyond my reach. I am both ashamed and impressed that you noticed my inability to serve. This is beyond my ability to respond to. Wait! Ignoring their obsession with wainscoting, servants said we. This is my chance to discover something useful. That is not the only thing I have noticed. Are there others in this house? I mean, other than you, myself, and the wainscoting. Very clever, my lady. The inhabitants of this house vary, but they will become clearer as you decide. So there are other people in this house. I knew that light in the carriage window meant that someone else was here. So does that mean my patron is here? Or is it someone else entirely? Is my former fiancé lurking in the wainscoting while preparing to murder me? Either way, I had better make sure servant is on my side and not tempted by fiancés lurking in the wainscoting. Well, no one else here could possibly be as remarkable as you. Oh, my lady, in several hundred years your bones will grow flowers as lovely as your long decayed flesh. On second thought, I hope I meet some of the other inhabitants soon. I hope that my honesty does not confuse you. I'm not sure I ever stopped being confused. However, I do appreciate you answering my questions. Unfortunately, all of servant's answers raise even more questions. I have just realized that I have no memory of this person when I arrived at this house. I just knew that they were a servant and treated them accordingly. When they called me a lady, it felt natural to give them orders. Yet, who was servant in the original novel? Was servant someone important to the tale, or just one of the unnamed background characters? Surely, even if I was Lady Jane and could remember her past, Lady Jane could be forgiven for not remembering the name of a single servant, no matter how familiar they are with me. Unless they were her childhood nanny, her very young-looking childhood nanny. So, on a completely unrelated note, how do you feel about babies? They eat almost as voraciously as rats at a corpse. I no longer want to know if servant was Lady Jane's childhood nanny. I appreciate your colorful descriptions. Do you know what else I would appreciate? The secret to controlling ominous cushions. No, well, yes, actually, but I would first like to get some sleep. Surely there must be some place in this house that is not covered in wainscoting? Well, surely there must be some place in this house that has a bed tucked in between the wainscoting? In that case, there is a room that might be of use to you. At this point, if it is full of neither wainscoting nor ominous cushions, I want you to lead me to it. I live to serve. Shall we indulge your tastes now, my lady? I am definitely ready for something to taste. She stares at servants' shoes a lot. Nearly there, my lady, for some definitions of nearly and there. It feels as if there should be many more rooms on this side of the manor, yet there is only one door. This does not match the windows I saw from the outside. Even the lights I saw from the outside did not match the lights inside. Once I came inside, those candles slowly lit up by themselves. However, at this point, I will be grateful if there is not a giant pit I must cross to reach a bed. Is this the bedroom where I will be staying? Of course, unless you prefer the hallway. Pardon me? Well, it is a beautiful hallway. You are welcome to stay in it as long as you like. So long as you do not mind what comes out of the wallpaper when you close your eyes. Serene. I am serene. Ah, serenity. I wonder what that feels like. Oh, me too. Now that we have something in common, I should ask Servant a question to better understand what is happening in this house. After all, I am supposed to be trapped in a bad romance, not in a horror novel. Yet it is clear that there is something very odd about this manor, or perhaps about Servant. To help me become serene, I have something I need to know. I'm not sure. Nope. Do you usually see things that are not there? I can only see what can be seen. So everything you have mentioned is visible. I can only speak to my own view of the world. You claim to see things coming out of wallpaper as well as rebellious wainscoting and murderous pillows. Perhaps you could tell me what you do not see. I cannot see your investigative ability. I am not sure whether or not I was just insulted. However, the only thing worse than being insulted is having to ask whether or not you were insulted, so... As I definitely understood your clever words, I am now ready to sleep and think about how clever you were. What a coincidence. I am ready to stay awake and think about the same thing. Well, I am ready to take my chances with whatever is beyond that door. Then, while the evening is spread out against the sky, let us go. After you, my lady. So the bed is placed against the wainscoting. Were the builders unable to stop creating wainscoting long enough to build a space for somewhere to rest? Rest is temporary. Wainscoting is eternal. That seems like a design decision that will cause problems when wainscoting starts falling on people just trying to sleep. As I said, rest is temporary, until it becomes eternal. Well, temporary or not, I need some rest, although I would like to bathe first. While my thick coat of dirt and bruises might match the decorating here, I do not want to sleep in this charming outfit. It appears I have another concern as well. Based on the noise of my stomach, I need some way to fill my hunger. The bath has been prepared and food is available to consume while you wash. Still, while the bath is available, I will not be joining you. What? I cannot provide for all your appetites and needs. Excuse me. You are excused. Still, you will need to clean your body and thoughts on your own. Good evening, my lady. May you wake from your dreams. I'm afraid now that if I blink, the room will disappear as Servant did. I must find the bath before this happens. The room looks as if a depressed brothel mated with an army of wood paneling. Where could a bath possibly be hidden in this space? That makes both more and less sense than I expected. How did they even fit the bath in? You know what? Never mind. I'm just grateful to be able to clean myself. At least the water is pleasant and does not seem to be ominous. Even if I can no longer see the blood I am sure was on my hand and neck, at least I am able to become clean. If only I could do as well for my stomach. Where did that food come from, and why is it being held by a piece of wainscoting? I'm too hungry to care. I'll be very upset if I'm murdered by a frighteningly shiny apple in a wine glass full of apple juice, but at least my stomach will stop making terrifying noises. Well, at least that was food and not wainscoting in disguise. So what do I do now? Am I meant to wear these rags to bed? Am I meant to sleep undressed? That is definitely a nightgown. I'm going to assume it was hiding at the bottom of that wine glass. Although I am tired enough to have imagined the wainscoting dropping it in front of me. I am not too tired to realize this nightgown fits me perfectly. This is concerning. Why is there someone who knows so much about me when I know nothing about them? I still do not care. Those pillows look comfortable that they can strangle me and I will die smiling. It is time to sleep. I hope my new dreams are kinder and less strange than the rest of my day. A scenic meadow. A stunning beach. A magnificent forest. Where would you like to die? And so, it is daytime. So I am unable to escape from this horror even in my dreams? Is this meant as an attempt at intimidation? Well, I do not respond well to intimidation. Or do I? I know I'm trapped in a story I read, but it is hard to remember who I was before this. Perhaps I was affected by whatever hurt Lady Jane. Ow. No, this is garbage. If I cannot remember my own past, must I be cursed with ominous warnings meant for someone else? Ha! Obviously my tormentors do not know me very well. After all, even if I do not know myself well, I know one thing. Whoever I am, even if I'm trapped in the body of a villainess this story is determined to destroy, if you take away my arms, I will kick you. If you take away my legs, I will bite you. If you take away my teeth, my gums will make you bleed. I will not be defeated. I will find a way to escape this mad world. Good morning, world. Here I come. After I find some clothes that are not transparent in the light. Where should I go to find clothing? I suppose I could go back to look in the dresser. Or the wainscoting could just drop an outfit in front of me along with the large apple. I'm a little concerned about the house's obsession with providing me with apples. Is it saying I look like a roast pig? Regardless, I will save an apple for the future in case there is somewhere with no wainscoting to provide me with food, as impossible as that seems. At least I also now have a suspiciously well-fitting dress that will not suddenly tangle around my legs should I need to flee. The nightgown was beautifully made, but delicate things are not very useful when fleeing for your life. I will be a champion fleer in this dress. So before I flee, I need to find more information about Lady Jane Neville and the people who want to kill her. There is no point in fleeing this suspicious house if I just walk instantly into the arms of Jane Neville's former fiancé. Who knows? It might not just be Jane's fiancé who wants to murder her. At some point I need to see if she just has a murderable face. I shall explore this house and see if I can find its mysterious other residents and subtly learn what clues they can tell me. Then I will flee in my very fleeable dress. It is so comforting to have a plan. So, where shall I go now? That was not at all unnerving. I assume the bedroom was glad to be rid of me. I can only hope that the rest of the house feels similarly. If so, I hope that I can quickly find the other inhabitants and get the information I need. This is strange. I could have sworn this hallway had another entrance, yet I only see the door to the bedroom. I don't know what's going on with this. With Merlina and 1001. And it, like, fading into, like, it kind of looks like a beach. Perhaps if I go back to the bedroom, I will find another exit that I missed. This looks strange. What is going on here? This is not the bedroom. Hello? Is anybody here? None of this seems right. If I look around, this seems like a manor long deserted, not a house that is being lived in by multiple people. What is going on here? The Crown Prince of Carcosa is behind that door. What will you do? What? Run! What is happening? Why is a strange voice speaking to me? I have excellent legs and strong lungs, and I have been eager to try out my new non-leg-tangling dress. Yet it is still strange that a voice in my ear would tell me to run away. Running does seem like a better option than staying here, but I need to think first. Serene. I must be serene. This is ridiculous. Obviously, I'm merely being blinded by wainscoting and need more rest. If I move closer to the door... I can see nothing unusual. Nothing unusual for this house, at least. How could the Crown Prince of Carcosa possibly be on the other side of this door? Jane, why are we pausing here? Why are we pausing on this position? The man's face is up here. Jane? Is that you? It's hard to see with all this light in my eyes. I recognize this man. This is Edmund Alpin. I hope you're doing well, Jane, despite the recent problems. The Crown Prince of Carcosa. It is fitting that I only remember the handsome prince from the terrible novel and not anything useful, such as whether or not he plans to smother me with ominous cushions. He did not appear to be smuggling ominous cushions when I carefully looked him over for security reasons. I am not prepared for this. What do I do now? Run away as fast as you can. Hello, Your Highness. Goodbye, Your Highness. Jane? I could have sworn that there was not a giant hedge in front of the manor. It was very dark last night. More importantly, I feel incredibly disrespected. When presented with a choice by an ominous voice, in good faith I chose the option that allowed me to get out of the situation. So why did my body move against my will when I had already decided to run when I was ready? The Crown Prince had not even stopped sparkling in the light. Everyone knows that you do not make a dramatic escape until the Crown Prince stops sparkling. It appears you doubt my guidance. Well, would you be pleased to listen to an ominous voice in your ear? Point taken. Also, your advice is terrible. A good ominous voice would at least let me say something impressive, such as, "From the depths of oblivion I curse thee," before I had to do something stupid. You made me say, "Hello, Your Highness," "Goodbye, Your Highness." How can I be a good villainess with such pathetic words? That is not even addressing my ridiculous run. So you did not wish to run? I had no desire to run so far and hard with some other force controlling my body. Fine, the decisions are yours. You'll realize the truth soon enough. And wish you would run even farther. Ha! You sound even more foolish now. Jane? Jane? Nobody could run any farther in skirts than I did. Jane? Jane? So I'm finally free of voices, and in a scenic hedge. At least I can stop worrying about terrible romance novel fiancés until I catch my breath. Well, I guess we know what Jane's focus is for a lot of things, huh? So you did escape the hedge, Jane. Who is this man and why is he covered in leaves? Wait, I know him. This is Aizel Kuzi, Duke of the North. Duke of the North? Romance novels are terrible at naming places. Also, apparently the only thing I remember from reading novels is the descriptions of attractive men. That seems fair. And that is why it's important to determine whether it is a good hedge or a bad hedge before moving. You have to be careful about hedges, Jane. I do not want you to be hurt by a bad hedge. Somehow I've missed everything Lord Aizel said. I'll need to subtly change the subject to hide my inattention. Do you enjoy lurking in bushes, Lord Aizel? Sometimes I have to do things I do not enjoy in order to do things that I do enjoy, though I wish these leaves would stop following me. Duke Aizel's presence forces me to realize that my situation is even more confusing than I imagined. I was so sure that Prince Edmund was the former fiancé that I was escaping, especially since I was literally forced to escape from him. However, a Duke of the North who sneaks around in bushes is both suspicious and a good candidate for being a bad romance novel's male lead. Which of them was the fiancé who betrayed Jane and sent her into exile? Unless... could one of these two men be the patron who helped Jane and me escape from the prison to come here in the first place? Who is he? Who is who? Is Prince Edmund a sparkly yet murderous fiancé, or an equally sparkly yet helpful patron? Is Lord Aizel a suspicious hedgeman? Well, yes, but is Lord Aizel also a former fiancé? Could he be my patron? How can I tell? Are you hurt, Jane? Did the bushes ambush you? Why am I surrounded by people who want my destruction? Probably because they are jealous of how hard you have been training. Pardon me? Jane, you've always been the hardest working person I know. Your enemies must have seen your efforts and grown jealous of you. They have? Then what should I do? Obviously, you must train hard to overcome all future trials. Luckily, I am here to help you. By the time I'm done training you, no one will doubt your strength, brilliance, and cunning. You will overcome every last obstacle. Does this strange Duke of the North even know what genre he's in? We're supposed to be in a bad romance, not an action-adventure series. Perhaps I should have fought harder to stay with the prince dressed like a human chandelier. Yet, that may be unfair. Duke Aizel may not be quite as obsessed with training as he seems on first impression. Perhaps he has other sides to his personality. It is good to see you again, Jane. I've been waiting in these hedges for some time in the hopes of our next meeting. That's a little weird. Well, at least he is not only interested in training and growing stronger, he is also obsessed with hedges. Having diverse interests is important. Yet this is still not helping me determine whether or not he is Lady Jane's fiancé and whether he is training her to survive, or whether he wishes her to die in some sort of training accident. Still, I do not remember any male leads in romance novels being so focused on hedges. Then again, I do not remember any romance novels at all. Perhaps romances are mostly centered around hedge care? Unfortunately, I do not think the ominous voice is going to help me run anymore, so I have no easy way of leaving this situation. So how should I answer this hedgeman, who could be either friend or foe? No. I know how to love. I will show you all the love screen. It just takes a second to load. So this is the love screen. We have Aizel. He is currently perfectly neutral. And depending on what we say, he will either like us more or he will dislike us more. Those are really your only two options. How do you plan to train me? Jane, I am glad you are ready for training again after all that has happened. We will work to show your speed, strength, and cunning to all around you. No one will dare doubt your abilities. Unfortunately, Duke Aizel appears to be saying that I'm surrounded by my enemies, and he's probably right. If that is the case, I really do need to train to get stronger. There are likely far too many people out to dismember me because of Lady Jane's villainous ways. I should thank Duke Aizel for the excellent warning. Thank you, Duke Aizel, for letting me know about this threat. I will try to become more difficult to dismember. Perhaps that will prevent future blades from reaching me. Oh, if you already have some blades pierce through you, it is all the more important to practice dodging. Obviously, my problem is that I have not spent enough time dodging. Do you know where I can find a tutor? I am more than willing to help you practice your skills, Jane. After all, I am very good at dodging and piercing. That is very good dodging. Whenever you are willing to see my piercing skills, I have my tool at the ready. But we should not talk about sheathing hard weapons within you or anyone else. There are far more important tasks before we start training together. I have a list. Well, I had a list. Did you lose it among the bushes or when pricking soft women while training them? I do not prick women. I have never yet pricked a woman. After all, I am yet unmarried. And I have been very careful about doing my business in these bushes, so... Ah, I knew I had my list somewhere up my sleeves. One, go to Jane's Manor. 2, find Jane. 3, solve problems. As you can see, there's only one step left. Duke Aizel, I am morbidly curious about what the solve problems part of this list means. Am I the problem you are solving? You were always so clever, Jane. I wrote entire lists about your brilliance. It is nice that Duke Aizel thought enough of me to include me in all 3 steps on his list. However, I should probably subtly see if he's as sneaky as his excellent hiding skills suggest. What else might be concealed in those cleverly chosen words on his list? That list says problems, not problem. What else are you solving other than me? Jane, you are the cleverest person I know. How did you notice there were multiple problems? I am very good at reading. Of course you are. You have discovered my secret about the problems. The truth is... Yes? I do not know what all the other problems are. Yet. But my list will reveal its secrets to me once I am able to handle the truth. After all, my father taught me to always listen to the heart of the list. Since you have found one of the truths in the list's heart, I should adjust the list to show what you have discovered. Let us officially add you to the list. Now 3A is Jane. Now all we need to do is follow my list and the troubles will be all over soon. Oh, hello, little axolotl. I see. I do not see. I think I am more confused than when I started, frankly. Obviously, what I need to do is find a subtle way to learn more about what he's intending. We are impressed by plans. Since you make so many plans, you are very impressive. I do think I am very good at plans. Thank you for noticing. As an investigative genius, I was able to deduce your interest in lists as well. I always enjoyed discussing plans and lists. I have a list of all my plans and a list of all the lists of my plans. It does mean I have less space for clothing, but luckily my father's old clothes can fit well under the papers. Come to think of it, I probably need a list of what lists I put the clothing under. It is very difficult to find socks now. Wait, what? Why do you need lists for... Well, otherwise the sofa keeps eating them. You have to have enough lists that if a sofa is attacking you, you can fight them off with a spare list so they do not eat your finger instead. Make sure not to get the list and the finger confused. My uncle made that mistake. That is why they call him the three-toed bald koozie. So somehow when he put out his finger instead of a list, he lost both his toes and his hair? No, he lost the plan for keeping people from noticing his hair loss. I'm so glad you understand how important it is to plan for luxurious hair. That is something important to remember. I'm glad that you are smart enough to understand my plans, Jane. Look at my very complicated list and how much I have done. I went to your manor, I found you, now I solve problems. It is a little more challenging to have you on the list as well, but I will find a way to make it work. Like that time we decided to learn how to do sword dancing. Sword dancing? We trained in sword dancing? Do you not remember when we decided to learn sword dancing? Of course I do. How could I forget that unforgettable time we decided to learn sword dancing? Of course I do not. What kind of romance novel features sword dancing? I'm going to accidentally murder myself if he hands me a sword. How can I possibly pretend to be Jane Neville, who frankly seems more amazing by the minute? All I need to do is be subtle and should be able to avoid his suspicions. Yes, sword dancing, my absolute favorite hobby. It is unfortunate that we do not have any swords nearby to practice it again. Sword dancing would have made such a great part of our training regime. However, I am sure we can cope with this disappointment bravely. Very bravely, extremely bravely, with graceful bravery almost to the height of the house's wainscoting. You like sword dancing, Jane? But after we destroyed the gazebo, the hedge, and your father's beard, you told me that you never wanted to see me pricking anything ever again. Then you added no swords either. But if you like swords... 3AI, sword dancing. This will be very helpful for solving problems. I'm sure it will. Was the problem with that list truly the lack of sword dancing? I will obviously need to sharpen my investigative genius if I hope to survive in Jane Neville's body. Who knew romance novels involved so much sword dancing? I suppose that sword training makes sense given how many enemies a villainess must have. Let us hope that Isel's cunning plan is not to have me murder myself. I am excited to see your sword handling skills again. In any case, moving away from my overwhelming passion for training with large, dangerous objects, would you like to go into the house, Duke Isel? It must have been a long ride here. Surely you need rest and refresh yourself. Then, while he's resting and refreshing, I can go to the stables, steal his horse, and ride away to safety. If I'm going to live up to Lady Jane's reputation as a villainess, this is the best way to do it. After all, I truly do not want to demonstrate my non-existent sword dancing skills. Even if Isel does plan to train me, it would be hard to continue training sword skills that do not exist. Even if... Oh, wait. Did I miss one? No, okay. Excellent. Oh, I understand. When I want something, I think everyone else wants that same thing too. If you are hungry, Jane, I will go make sure that food is prepared for you. We always work up quite an appetite together. I will brave the hedge for you, Jane. I will make sure I can feed your appetite. Okay. I do feel a little sorry for Duke Isel. No, Isel, since he keeps calling me Jane. He's very earnest and obviously not as subtle as I am. I wonder if his angelic face and sweet words hide something more sinister. Perhaps it is time to think things over. So far, I've seen 2 men on this estate. It makes sense that one of them would be Jane's fiancé and the other her patron. So is the very relatable and very normal Isel Jane's helpful patron? Is he her cruel fiancé? How can I possibly tell, especially without letting these men know that I do not remember Lady Jane's past? How can I tell without letting them know that I'm not Lady Jane? What will these men do if they realize I am not Lady Jane? I think I need to find a horse to steal. To the stables. I just need to find the stables first. Were the stables always at the end of this pathway? Never mind. If life makes it easier to steal a horse, you do not ask too many questions. I saw something up in the top right on the rafters. So, where are the horses hiding? Between the carriage that brought me here and however anyone else arrived, there must be at least one horse here. Are you looking... Oh, are you looking for me? No, I refuse to believe that I read that kind of novel. Why would I read novels about enchanted animals that need a kiss to turn back into attractive men? This is obviously a mistake of some kind. I'm obviously so grateful to see that my desire to mount you is overwhelming my common sense. Well, Jane, I can certainly take you for a ride if that's what you want. Surely I did not have such bad taste in my past. I would know if I had such a strong desire for horseflesh. Who actually wishes to kiss a horse to get a worthy man? I am not sure I qualify as a stallion, but I'll take the compliment. Why on earth would I ride a stallion? I thought you were a gelding. Jane, maybe you should look just slightly farther over. But why, Jane? But why is that what we're focusing on? I have missed you, Jane. Ben? Thank goodness, I was afraid you were going to call me Lord Byrne for the rest of my life. It's good to hear you say my name again. Ben Burren, only son of Duke Burren, childhood friend and neighbor of Lady Jane Neville. I'm forced to realize that I truly do have an incredible memory for attractive men, and nothing else. Did Ben's exposed collarbone hypnotize me so much that I immediately blurted out a name that could only be used by someone very close to him? Ben is not upset, but I need to be less suspicious. Perhaps I can subtly change the subject. You look well and not like someone who is about to murder me. That is true, although I'm amazed you can see me through all these petals. Why are there petals floating in a stable anyway? I have no idea. Maybe someone was storing potpourri in the rafters and the packets fell off when you came here? Those scented flower packets stink. Does this mean I'm going to spend the rest of my life smelling like the inside of a drawer? Think of it this way, Ben. What other foul-smelling objects could be floating through the air in a stable? Point taken. I will complain about the petals no further, even if they continue to rain down on me. Have you tried nicely asking the house to stop? For instance, you could say, please stop making me smell like the inside of my mother's linen closet. Well, that is much better. Though your flower fall was too cruel a punishment for so small a sin, it is not my fault you mistook me for horse. Though I am impressed you managed to control those petals. I do not know why Ben thinks I did something to make the petals stop. Has he not tried asking the house for what he wants? When I said I wanted things, the house has occasionally responded. I assume this is both because I ask for what I want and because it helps advance this terrible story's plot. Still, if Ben has not learned how to work with the house, I might have an advantage over him. If he tries to murder me, I can summon one of my endless apples for the loud crunching noises, and the loud crunching noises will distract him long enough for me to flee. However, before I make plans to run, I need to make him think I am sweet and useless so he does not suspect me. It was cruel of you to pretend that animals can speak. To be fair, it was hard to reach you faster than Horse. He's always been bizarrely fond of you. Horse? Oh no, Jane, you do not get to pretend you did not name him. If I had to explain that name for 14 years, you cannot forget that you forced me to choose it. Well, he seems to like the name. That's because Horse is, as I said, bizarrely fond of you. I assume it is because you have something special to attract him, and I have one guess. What do you use to wash your hair? Horse is always eager to sample it. So Horse does not want to murder me. This might help me eventually. Horse also has better taste in women than Jane's former fiancé, who I still do not remember. Of course, Ben's present complicates the question of who Jane's fiancé is, but that's a thought for later. Right now, I need to decide just how friendly I want to be with the pulpery horseman, given who he might be in the future, in the story. Should I not have soaked my hair in oats? Your commitment to beauty standards and animal care is what I most admire about you. Although I suspect that your hair could attract more than horse. Truly, attracting horse was an accident. Really, I've been trying to lure squirrels to do my bidding. Wait, why on earth would I want to lure squirrels to do my bidding? Why on earth would you want to lure squirrels to do your bidding? Squirrels are nasty, terrifying creatures who will kill you with a blank look in their beady little eyes. Ben? I see. You plan to use the bloodthirsty squirrels against your enemies. By the blood, the way your mind works makes me dizzy with amazement at my brilliance. Yes, amongst other things. Ignoring your brilliance, if you still are worried about attracting horse, you need not be concerned. Your hair is lovely, with or without an additional scent. Almost as lovely as it is to see you again. You're so... I am so... Have you lost your voice? Are the words you are thinking too disturbing to share? Of course not. It's just that horse missed you. Would horse be flattered to know that I missed him too? I'll have to thank him personally. Where is Horse? I could have sworn he was standing right beside me. Oh, he's very clever. Horse managed to find himself an open stall with food where he can still stare lovingly at you. I could have sworn that stall had bars in front of it. Surely Horse is not capable of removing bolted planks with his teeth. I need to pay more attention to my surroundings. I obviously am imagining things when I need to remember what I see. As it is, I need to be polite but distant with Ben until I remember more. It is important that I do not see anything that could be misinterpreted as cruel or cold. I hope your heavy weight did not inconvenience poor Horse since you rode him all the way here. Trust me, Jane, I did not inconvenience Horse in the least. Horse is very fond of my weight. Are you also fond of my inconvenient weight? Is this a threat? Is Ben threatening to squash me with his bulk or aim other parts of his body at me? Those collarbones qualify as dangerous weapons, and those bare forearms are also alarming. Look at how muscular and powerful they are. Surely there is some way to defeat Ben's cunning plan to overwhelm me with his body. Is the circus missing its clown? After all, I'm not sure who else would have so many jokes to share. You wound me, Jane. I like to think of myself as a more well-dressed fool. Are you trying to make me let down my guard? You are obviously no fool. I'm glad that you agree I am well-dressed. On the other hand, while I may not be a fool, I'm no clown either. Just after thinking about it, I have to agree. You are not nearly as amusing as me. Jane, you once asked me, what do you call a fly without wings? And then immediately answered, a walk, without pausing for breath. Fly, walk, that is brilliant. I was a creative genius. Nobody can tell a joke like I can. You know what? I agree. Jokes aside, I'm glad that you found a slightly less used outfit to wear. It makes it much easier for us to frolic in this delightful estate that only appears to be partially on the verge of collapse. I'm impressed you noticed my change in clothes. Does this mean Ben saw me in my previous outfit? This changes things, because there are only a few people who could have seen me in that ragged dress. Still, is he possibly referring to some other outfit? I need to pay attention to what he says. Now that I'm living in this manner, as it beautifully falls apart around my ears, I need to dress appropriately. Does this mean your dress comes equipped with a shield for falling bricks? Bricks? It is the wainscoting you should fear. Ben, you need to breathe as well as laugh. I remember Ben. Something in me knows him. I know that Jane grew up with him and spent countless hours in his company. I remember nearly nothing about Jane, but I remember Ben. So why am I so afraid to trust him? I need to see if I can get an actual non-joking answer from him. Ben, you are not here to judge my fashion choices, so why are you here? Jane, you wound me. I always have time for your fashion choices. If Duke Byrne would not let me wear a lace-covered gown, then who but you could model it for me? I can see why your father would object. If you continue to show as much skin as you do, the lace would be attached to your flesh. So you understand why I urgently needed to see you. I actually do not. Why are you here, Ben? Where else would I be? I'll always race to be by your side whenever you need me. So you had decided that I needed you. I had hoped you needed me. Once I've settled horse, we need to speak seriously. I've never ridden as fast or as hard as I did today. Once horse is well, we need time to discuss all that has happened. Preferably over a cup of tea. Assuming, of course, that the tea in the manor is not as decayed as literally everything else here. Well, I could eat the apples, so hopefully the tea will be fine. Maybe I can impress Ben with my courage or my knowledge of the house? I am not afraid of tea. I'm glad you're willing to risk potential poisoning to spend time with me. I'm flattered beyond belief. Yes, I am very brave and do not already know that the tea will be perfectly safe to drink. Well, you will get a chance to show your bravery soon enough if I do not tend to horse immediately. What do you mean? Does he need new tack? I think I saw some saddles off to the side. I'll check their condition. Some of these might actually be useful if you can ignore the strange length of the stirrups. Oh, no, Jane. I think you'll get to test your courage sooner than I expected. What do you mean? I knew Horse would not be able to resist the smell of your hair for long. I always wished to be showered with spittle from a horse's mouth. I finally get to live out my deepest fantasies. I hope I can help you revise your fantasies slightly. However, I will need to settle Horse again before we can speak. Yes, after you care for Horse, come to the manor. Make sure to stable Horse first. I do not want to have tea mixed with horse spittle. It is obviously we have a lot to discuss. I think I will take Horse for a quick ride because he's too worked up to immediately put him in the stall. You seem to understand him very well. Take him for a good ride. Just know that I will waste no time taking the best tea desserts for myself. I would expect no less from you. After all, time is a terrible thing to waste. Time is a terrible thing to waste. Servant said that. Ben, are you here to... Oh no. Oh no. I need to go wash my hair now. I told you that the scent is not... See you for tea. Now I need to think. Well, at least to close up the stables. By the blood, what happened during those final moments with Ben? What was that? No, I don't like that. We were having a perfectly pleasant, horse spittle-soaked conversation when all of a sudden... my head began to ache, and I heard Ben's voice say, "Time is a terrible thing to waste," in an oddly distorted voice. That was not even the worst of it. Immediately after Ben spoke, I heard my voice say, "Ben, are you here to..." Only that was not my voice, was it? It was the voice of the actual Jane Neville, the villainess who should be trying to survive this terrible story. Unfortunately, the villainess could not just tell me what Ben had planned. Lady Jane said, "Ben, are you here to..." But what was Ben here to do? Help me? Murder me? Serenade me with a song about horses' eating habits? Are you sure those are the only things Ben Burren might do? Oh, you again. Well, it seemed as if you could use a sympathetic ear, and perhaps some other assistance. I thought you had planned to leave me alone to make my own choices that I would regret forever. I'm not sure that is exactly what I said, but I'm not making your choices for you. I'm here to listen. Honestly, it is nice to talk to someone who cannot murder me. Even if the only reason you cannot murder me is because you do not appear to have a body and have sworn to no longer control mine. If you could stop reminding me that literally everything and everyone else here can murder me, we would get along very well. I will avoid providing more warnings, for now. I'm more interested in your thoughts. I have so many thoughts. For one, I thought I understood what was happening with Ben until I heard both his voice and my voice in my mind. Now I have to worry about Ben being the male lead. This is despite the fact that childhood friends are supposed to be loving but ultimately disposable in terrible romance novels. Until I heard those voices, I was convinced that the childhood friend could never win over the heroine. Thus, Ben could never be the former fiancé who betrayed Lady Jane. Did you not see Lord Byrne's collarbones? I admit it was a terrible mistake not to take Ben's collarbones into account. However, I was too hypnotized by them myself to realize the danger. So you realize Ben Byrne is a potential danger to you? Well, no, because the situation is even more confusing than it was before my vision. According to what I understand, there should be 2 men involved in this story. One of these men should be the fiancé who betrayed me, and the other should be the patron who saved me. As for who Ben is, Ben, are you here to could be followed by help me or harm me, so he could fit either of those roles. So it'll be easy to determine which role Ben Byrne fits. But that is the problem. Ben the childhood friend is not the only man in this manner. I also met Edmund the Crown Prince and Isel the Duke of the North. Now I must deal with 3 men and 2 roles. That seems like a very confusing math problem. Yes, especially since I have no idea why I have a 3rd wild card here. I do not even know which man is my patron and which is my fiancé, so what am I supposed to do with a 3rd? Make him my hedge trimmer? It seems as though you could use a guide who could help you. Are you volunteering for the role? I'm always willing to give you a nudge in the proper direction. Does this nudge involve taking control from my body as you did when you made me run from Prince Edmund? Would you not have run from him anyway? Perhaps I would have. Perhaps I would not. Either way, the choice should have been mine. Why should it matter if the choice is yours or mine, if the choices are the same? The person making the choice matters most of all. If I must live through a wretched story that seems determined to torture me, I need to control my own destiny. Even if you meant well, even if you are truly trying to help me, even if you are right, I must be the person who controls my fate. I do not understand. When I made you run, you called it a terrible choice. Yet you believe it was a good choice when you ran on your own? Well, yes, I am perfectly capable of making terrible choices on my own. I never denied that. Sometimes the choices I make will be terrible or will seem terrible to someone like you, but they are still my choices. This is my life I'm risking. What happens to me must be my responsibility. Hey, Creeper, stop it. So you would rather do something foolish on your own than something wise under my direction? I am afraid I do not understand. Look, it seems as if you wish to help me. Goodness knows you might be the only one. However, you can help me by respecting that I would rather bet my life on my own investigative genius than be someone else's puppet. I will take responsibility for my own actions and for my fate. However, I will always be grateful to your wise suggestions and advice. He's part of the bush now. Don't like it? Does that mean I can still send you ominous warnings once in a while? Only as long as they're the most ominous warnings. That seems fair. Beware of strangers bearing bushes. Now that was a good warning. I am now ready to proceed somewhere. Is it gone? So, shall I just walk the hedge until I find somewhere else? That looks as good a place as any. Hopefully I shall eventually find some food that is not apples on my journey. How does the house manage to look ominous during the day? Truly, there are no ends of ominous objects here. If I remember the ominous voice's warning, then I should also check one object in particular. Are you a naughty bush? No, you do not seem to be being carried by a stranger. You seem to be an ordinary boxwood bush. Still, that does not mean you cannot be naughty. I will be keeping my eye on you. I do not think I am very naughty. Nobody thinks they are naughty. Well, technically I've heard small children say that they've been naughty before they start shrieking and spill strange liquids on me. I'm very confused. Well, is that not how the bush got stumped? It could not get to the root of the problem. I was wondering how an overgrown bush could be the lead of a romance, but you could charm anyone with your amazing sense of humor. I do not think I am that unshaven. Apparently we cannot see through the naughty bush. You are the shiniest bush I've ever seen. It is naughty to blind people with your light. Shiny? Do you mean all that metal on me is shiny? I suppose even if you are a strange male lead, you still need to have some kind of fancy decoration somewhere. I do not know what else I would expect from a tale set in a manor like this. This is a gorgeous manor. Is the metal you just mentioned reflecting enough light to interfere with your vision? If it bothers you, I will reduce the reflection. Thank you for the advice. Prince Edmund. I call the Crown Prince of Carcosa a naughty bush after previously running away from him. Even if he was not already planning to murder me, surely now he wants me dead. Please, Jane, could you please call me Edmund again? Are the men in this novel very cunning or just strangely unbothered by insults? All the better for me. I just need to handle this situation very subtly and there will not be any problems. Hello, Edmund. It was definitely not at all concerned that you were going to murder me on the spot. I'm happy to call you by the name I definitely remember calling you. Edmund. Hello, Jane. I too am behaving very normally. I am not at all nervous about seeing you again. I also definitely did not crouch down in a bush to be able to look you in the eye. It was perfectly normal for us to stare at one another through a bush for a long period of time. Bushes are very interesting. Absolutely. There is nothing like a lush bush to make someone want to stare and sink their face into it, like we did. This is going very well. Still, I will have to be careful because Edmund seems to be nearly as subtle as I am. So, Edmund, we have somehow met yet again. Is there a reason you've come to see me? I have many reasons. Too many reasons to speak of right now, Jane. At least not before we have some tea. Anyway, in happier news, you look very healthy, Jane, and not as though you plan to run from me. I am definitely not planning to run. I am definitely planning to run. Just not in front of someone who could easily have me beheaded. I see the guillotine enough in my dreams. I do not need to see it in reality. After all, royalty can be very unstable. I'm not sure why I know that, but it feels true to me. I'm glad. After all, I was able to find you because I knew you would be running in circles, since it is hard to run in squares. I do wish there was a laugh track for them. You have a great sense of humor. So do you. I'm glad to laugh with you again. Perhaps this meeting can bring more pleasure than pain. Ah, a chance for me to be witty or to subtly express my concerns. I try to bring more pleasure than pain. I'm pleased to hear that, although technically pleasure is a form of pain. That is incredibly alarming. I mean, interesting to hear. I should take you out to see my drawings sometimes. They're very informative about a variety of subjects. What do your secret drawings show? How fast can I run if his drawings demonstrate that Edmund takes pleasure in giving pain? Perhaps his beauty distracts vulnerable young ladies before he sheathes his blade in them. There are a lot of topics, although some of the drawings are incomplete. Perhaps you would like to finish the bird? It already has a head, a body, and feet, so you can just wing it. You are fiendishly clever, Edmund Alpin, but I will not be fooled. If you try to demonstrate that you enjoy pain, you will feel my boot against your throat. That would bring more pleasure than pain, my lady. What do you mean? Are you saying that I do not have the strength to mount you effectively? Just that having you on top of me is always a pain. Nope. What? I really like hardwood. Did you know how much of it there is on this estate? Pardon me? I was able to get a much better look at how unusual the designs in the manor were when I was trapped in the entrance to this place. Trapped? What do you mean? I tried to follow after you when you left, but the door closed and then locked behind you. On the positive side, by the time I was able to exit, I had memorized the design of the wainscoting. It is an interesting pattern. Did you know that there is wainscoting on the ceiling? Unfortunately, yes. However, I want to know more about how you were trapped. It was very strange. The door refused to open when I tried it. Then, once I had focused my attention entirely on the most delightful molding, I turned around and the door was wide open. I went out and you were nowhere to be seen, but then there you were. Did you run because you were attacked by the cat molding? It did look very suspicious, even if it is beautiful. Edmund is obviously very clever to notice the danger and beauty of the wainscoting, but does that mean he is telling the truth about what happened to him? Did the house truly prevent him from coming after me when the choice to run was made for me? Does that mean the house will no longer help me if I will not accept the voice's help? I cannot go any longer without knowing this. For some reason, the apple I had saved in my dress has disappeared, so... Apple! Where? Jane? I need an apple. I could see if there are some in the pantry in the manor. No need. The house still loves me. I'm very interested in hearing more about your thoughts on this house and how you managed to conceal an apple in that dress. My thoughts on the house? Yes, this manor does not seem to be using the design I had suggested, so I was wondering if you knew of any good areas to visit. I've always enjoyed our debates about architecture. Well, that was because you enjoyed seeing me get so excited that it jumped higher than a house. Because a house cannot jump. I'm going to enjoy spending time with you, Jane. Edmund plans to spend time with me here. Why? I need more information. I'm not sure which one Edmund is going to like. Let's try with solve mysteries. Are you here to solve mysteries? After all, what could be more mysterious than who is trying to kill Lady Jane Neville? Although the house has an endless supply of apples is also very suspicious. Perhaps Edmund is here to solve the mysteries about myself or the house. Oh, I understand. Edmund has already proven that he is cunning and clever. Perhaps he is also an investigative genius. Perhaps Edmund is even the patron who saved me because he needed another investigative genius to help solve these mysteries. Be honest, Edmund. Are you here to solve the mysteries, or to investigate the dangers of wainscoting? Jane, you are as brilliant as ever. How did you know that I was here to solve mysteries and destroy problems? Nobody understands subtlety like I do. I am concerned about your focus on problems, though. You do not have a list, do you? A list? I usually just solve problems in my head. Then you are an investigative genius, too. I am so flattered to hear you compare me to yourself. I've always dreamed of being as perceptive as you. It is as pleasing as seeing that I have improved my jokes enough to satisfy your sophisticated sense of humor. Of course I appreciate your jokes. After all, no one could be more talented than either of us in either investigation or comedy. So, as brilliant as we both are, we will need to make some maps and sketch out suspects. What would happen if we could not tell a suspicious piece of wainscoting from a suspicious dresser? I only hope that you are as good of an artist as you are an investigative genius. Do not worry, Jane. I will always be able to draw conclusions. I'm glad that I will be working with you. However, I do want to know something, Edmund. I'll be happy to sketch you whenever you choose. That would be... No, I will not be distracted. Why exactly are you here? I'm here to make sure you get into no further trouble. The only way I will not get into further trouble is if I am dead. Does this mean he plans to kill me? Or at least that you only get into trouble with me. Trouble with you? Are you planning to cause my problems to mount? No, I intend to cause perfectly innocent trouble. Trouble that does not involve mounting in any way. My mind is always making perfectly innocent plans. What sort of plans are you speaking of? Our plans. After all, we always love discussing our plans for the country together. Did you know that the wainscoting in the parlor of our kingdom's palace was first designed in... Edmund and I had plans for the country? What was our relationship to one another? The only people who plan together are people who are intimately involved. Was I his investigative genius? Did I serve as an aide to the crown? Was he my fiancé? He is wearing an engagement ring. Jane, are you alright? You seem lost in thought. Pardon me? Forgive me, but have you forgotten our past plans? Did your time in prison harm your memory? Edmund knows that I was in prison. This is an alarming thought for later, but I have an even more alarming immediate concern. I cannot let anyone know I do not remember this terrible story, or, even more importantly, that I am not actually Lady Jane Neville. Edmund must never realize that I am not the Lady Jane that he once knew. He and the other men might end up pricking me with their swords if they learn that I am not the woman they want me to be. How can I subtly distract Edmund from his suspicions? Our plans make me dizzy with joy. They do? I'm lightheaded at the very thought of our many, no doubt, amazing plans that I definitely remember and do not fear at all. So you would be happy to draft that 37-page report on the condition of linen in the poorest communities in Carcosa? Of course! I love reports, and linen. I love neither reports nor linen. Lady Jane Neville was brave beyond my understanding if she was willing to wear coarse linen and write about the experience. And then, once we have crept out of the dark alley and avoided potential death, we can... What? Once the squirrels get involved, they will be unable to resist supporting our demands, since we can no longer count on the... What? When you swing down into the royal audience chamber with the children singing behind you, I know you can avoid the Shadow Guard and their deadly poisons, because we practiced. Edmund. Yes? Edmund, I think it's best that I keep track of which plans that we should be following. I am dizzy with delight at the thought of revising them. Will this make Edmund angry? Will he pull out his well-polished blade to prick me now? Even if it angers Edmund, I cannot allow a plan that involves both singing children and squirrels. I'm so glad, Jane. I'm so glad and so grateful. I'll follow your plans, any plans you want, Jane. Any plans at all. Are you sure about that, Edmund? After all, if you do not understand one of my plans, we might not be able to use it. I might need to explan it. And they laugh. They really should have a laugh track. I love them. Plans or explans, I'm happy to follow your lead, Jane. As you should. Are you sure we cannot use the squirrel? No. I cannot tell if Edmund's insistence on rodents is because he has a cunning plan to test whether or not I am Jane Neville, or because he needed someone like me to make plans for him. Either way, I must come up with a way to stop Edmund from suspecting me. Unfortunately, he is the most subtle man I have met so far. While I enjoy speaking with you, I'm exhausted from all that has happened to me. It has been so challenging to fight off both the wainscoting and my very real memories of being in prison that I cannot think of anything but my pain. The terrible, terrible pain in my heart when I realize that I will never again be able to dance the beautiful sword dance of my heart without thinking of all that is past. You can sword dance? You can sword dance well? Was it only Isel who was interested in sword dancing? Edmund actually has a blade he is constantly polishing, so I assumed that he would enjoy sword dancing as well. If I'm wrong, I must stop Edmund's doubts immediately. Not anymore. Not after my deep, deep sorrow. You see, I feel the deepest sorrow at the thought of being pricked. No pricking. I would not even dream of pricking anything, let alone you, constantly. That is very good to hear. Still, Jane, you hate dancing, so why would you mention sword... My pain, it has become even deeper. Forgive me. No, forgive me. I'm so sorry, Jane. I should have remembered all that you have suffered. I do not blame you, Edmund. No one could possibly know all the terror I've experienced. Mostly from the thought of ominous cushions or falling wainscoting. Or the pain I have suffered. Who would not have a sore neck after being trapped in a carriage going nowhere for a long period of time? Or the trials I have faced. Despite what the house seems to think, apples are not actually a full meal. That is not even considering the trial of being pulled into a terrible story. That makes no sense. I should be weeping, in rage. Oh, Jane, I truly regret all the pain you have experienced and all the cruelties you have endured. If there's anything I can do to help you. I'm sure you would do whatever you could to help me, Edmund, though perhaps we can speak of something better than bitter memories. Especially since I do not remember these bitter memories. Of course, Jane. As always, I would gladly do anything you ask me to. In truth, Yes, Edmund? I'm grateful that after all that we've been through, we are reunited once again. However, I am most grateful that you are once again Jane in all ways. Jane in all ways? What does that even mean? I was so worried that... Yes? What were you worried about, Edmund? Edmund, are you well? Yes, I am. More importantly, I was worried. I just hope that neither of us need to experience what we went through again in the future. I hope not. With luck, I can avoid further difficulties in the future, no matter how many bad romance novels I was foolish enough to read. Bad romance novel? Never mind. Just remember that I am definitely the Jane you have always known. How could Edmund not be convinced by my incredible display of subtlety? Now is my chance to be even more subtle and convince him to help me leave this house. If you like the Jane who you know I most definitely am, I have an even better suggestion. Once I'm away from this house, I can continue being a perfectly normal Jane each and every day. Yes, I too am the Edmund you have always known, unless you want me to be a different Edmund, in which case, wait. Away from this house, Jane, you know it will be some time before... Before what, Edmund? Before tea, before the wainscoting eats us, or do you mean before I can leave here? Jane, you're free to do as you wish here. I know this place might not be as you are used to, but if there's anything I can do to comfort you... Comfort me? Edmund, I know that you are trying to help, but do you know what would comfort me? Probably not me telling you a joke about the difference between a hedgehog and a sheathed sword. Oh, what is the answer? On a hedgehog, the pricks are on the outside? No, you cannot distract me with your comedic genius. Be honest, Edmund. Why can I not leave the house as I please? Jane, I have no more ways to persuade you. However, please remember that I promised you would not regret trusting me, even if your father... My father? Yes, your father and mother would both want... Why should I care what they want? After all, the beloved family of Jane Neville has already demonstrated how much they care for her. Yes, your family has definitely shown how much they care for you. By not helping me when I needed them the most, and now leaving me to stay in a strange house in the middle of nowhere with a man who speaks of nothing but pricking. Is that how you see the situation? Why does my head hurt? Why does my heart hurt? Oh, Edmund. Why did the clock fail to become a chef? Because he ran out of time. I do not know how much time I have to prove myself to you, Jane, but I promise I will do everything I can to be worthy of your trust. Trust. I trust that you can make me smile. I'll do everything I can to bring joy in all ways, my lady. I do not care what it costs me. Why did I say that? Why did he say that? What is going on here? I need Edmund to leave so I can think. Shall we head back to the house? I am truly exhausted and want nothing more than a cup of tea. I will be happy to arrange that. Surely there must be an unmolded tea bag somewhere in this place. Perhaps it is hiding in the baseboards. Or he could just ask servant. However, if Edmund wishes to find the tea bag himself as part of a cunning plan to determine what I have been doing, that gives me more time to recover. Then I shall wish you luck on your adventure, Edmund. Make sure to prepare a delicious tea for us. If you can bring a dozen little cakes as well, I may even forget what pain is. I will do my best. The manor's wainscoting will hide nothing from me. Unfortunately, if Edmund looks there, all he shall find are apples. Still, so long as Edmund leaves, I can even sacrifice some delicious tea cakes. What is most important is getting him out of my way. Just a little more subtle flattery should do it. How very brave and princely of you to search through the house's wainscoting. You are a true knight in shining armor. All those lovable maidens must adore a prince who can fetch them some tea. I'm not too sure about that, Jane. I've not always served lovable maidens as well as I would have liked. By served, does Edmund mean for dinner? Did I read cannibal romances in my past life? No, I do not think there are cannibal romances. Romance readers would not want the male lead to devour the heroine. Are you sure? So Edmund saying that he has not always served lovable maidens must refer to something else, something that I must investigate later. Still, I will do as you ask me to, Jane. I want you to make yourself at home here, especially since, well, there's always been something haunting about you, Jane, and now that you are here, you fit this place so perfectly. Is Edmund trying to insult me or compliment me? His subtlety may be more powerful than I imagined. Being compared to the house should be an insult since it is both murderous and decrepit. On the other hand, Edmund appears to think the house is beautiful. He even complimented the molding. Perhaps he's attracted to houses. I really need to figure out how hairy, horse-like, or house-like the heroine is. Perhaps that might provide another clue for who is the male lead of this novel. You look exhausted, Jane. Let me brave the house for you. I'll find the little cakes of your dreams. Little cakes, here I come. So I am not supposed to follow after him? I thought you wished for a moment to think. Oh, is it time for one of our chats again? Did you not wish to speak with me? I thought you welcomed our conversations. It is pleasant to speak with you when you are not reminding me of my imminent doom. However, we did not speak all that long ago. Does that mean you are here with an ominous warning? You are very good at ominous warnings. No. Is it a cryptic message? I'm already so confused that a cryptic message would not upset me further, so provide the message. Fine. I might have been curious about your thoughts. My thoughts? Are you curious about whether I've found even more murderous objects or had any more ominous revelations? I do think I should be wary of the naughty bush. Who do you find the most attractive? What? Who do you find the most attractive? What? Why is the world going dark? I love myself. Myself? That makes... I know you want some explanation, but let me tell you, if there is one person I have the deepest attraction and respect for, it is the person I am slowly remembering as me. I do not remember much about who I was previously, but what I am discovering is deeply pleasing. Who has a better sense of humor than me? Who is more subtle than me? How can anyone else compare to my investigative genius? If I was not trying to escape being murdered, I would wish to romance myself. Look at the eyebrows! I agree. What? It makes perfect sense that you find yourself to be the most attractive person in this space. No one else here compares to you. That is good to know, though I must confess... Yes? When I first heard that choice of myself, I thought you might have been referring to you. What? I immediately thought the voice truly is amazing. I agree the voice is the most attractive person around after me. My lady. I do not know if you have a face or a name or even a body. However, I do know that you are the only one who knows both that I lost my memory and who I can trust to want the best for me. Whenever I needed a friend to confide in, you were there to guide and support me. You even warned me about naughty bushes, who I have added to my danger list alongside wainscoting and ominous cushions. Voice, you truly are my closest friend. No matter what you look like or who you are, I think you are lovely. Both life and death are lovely, my lady. You, however, are something more. Is that an ominous warning? Are you saying that because you know I enjoy your ominous warnings? Apparently it is hard to distinguish compliments and warnings. Seriously though, what was that? I asked you a question and you answered like people do in conversation. Most people in normal conversations do not have choices whispered in their ear while a voice makes strange noises indicating there's a time limit to reply. You did not like my musical indication of your remaining time? I've been told that my music is very unique. That is true, but why did you need to pressure me into a time limit anyway? This question did not seem like something that required me to think quickly. Besides, I thought you were going to stop forcing my choices. I was not forcing your choice, I promise. You just what? I'm very impatient. I cannot wait very long to know such important information. You think it is important to know who I am attracted to? I can understand the curiosity, since I am a very lovable lady who has excellent taste, and you probably wish to discuss your own attractions as well. Still, I am trying to avoid being murdered. I do not have time to contemplate how gorgeous everyone here is. I must focus on the danger around me, like the ominous warnings you previously provided. Danger? Like the danger hiding inside these men's trousers? What are you talking about? Oh, you mean the security measures I was taking when searching for ominous cushions. Searching for ominous cushions. Is that what you were doing when you were looking over the men's trouser fronts? Yes, there are only so many places even cunning men could store dangerous cushions to use as weapons. Trousers make the most sense. I am very concerned about stuffing. That is a valid concern. Unfortunately, I could not find any cushions no matter how hard I looked. So here I am, stuck with the potpourri horseman, the peeping hedgeman, and the human chandelier. So it seems. Can I not just lock them all in a room and have them prick each other? Your ability to find solutions to things that were not problems until you suggested them is remarkable. Like my investigative skills. No, your investigative skills truly are the works of genius. See, we have much more interesting conversations when we focus on helpful ways for me to avoid danger. Why ask me stressful questions? So you're saying that if the question is focused on danger... What? Who is the most dangerous in the house? I don't know. I don't know. Edmund. The Crown Prince. I suppose he is the most obvious answer. Yes, even if I'm irritated at being given yet another ridiculous question. Forgive me, my lady. I was merely trying to be of service to you. You are forgiven. Then tell me, teacher, will answering enough absurd questions earn me a degree in villainessology? If it's any consolation, you are currently my highest ranked student. That is very pleasing to know, only... Be honest, am I not your only student? This only means that you are the highest ranked in everything. Then I am like Edmund, only his high rank makes him dangerous to me. After all, most cheap romance novels make the male lead the highest ranked man in order to highlight the heroine's superiority to everyone else. And in this novel, who could be higher ranked than the future king? So you are convinced that the Crown Prince is the most dangerous person here? For now, yes. After all, it is not only Edmund's status as Crown Prince that worries me. He has also said some concerning things, such as... Yes, your family has definitely shown how much they care for you. How does Edmund know so much about the Neville family? The Nevilles are nobles. Perhaps Edmund saw them at the royal court. Perhaps, but if that's the case, how would Edmund know what the Nevilles feel about their daughter, especially after they abandoned her in prison? No, there's something deeply suspicious about Edmund's familiarity with the Neville family. It makes me wonder if he was Lady Jane's treacherous fiancé after all. Is there anything else that makes you nervous about the Crown Prince? Besides his habit of blinding me with his good looks and golden light? Oh yes, Edmund also said... Yes, this manor does not seem to be using the design I had suggested, so I was wondering if you knew of any good places, or any good areas to visit. I know Edmund loves architecture, but it would be odd for him to design random manors, unless he knew he would store an inconvenient villainess in one. So you suspect that Edmund Alpin may have prepared this house for you? Perhaps. If I was being optimistic, I would hope that Edmund is the patron who took me out of prison and prepared the house for my recovery. However, if I'm being pessimistic... At this point, I believe you have every reason to be. I think pessimism is the only reasonable choice now, unfortunately. I wonder if Edmund redirected my carriage so that I was dumped in this terrifying house to be destroyed. It makes me wonder if Edmund is responsible for the ominous cushions. While that would be truly monstrous, I have every confidence that you will find a way to overcome cushions, wainscoting, or sparkling princes. Thank you, Ominous Voice, for helping me collect my thoughts. I admit that while I was skeptical about your question, it did help me focus my investigative genius. That achievement justifies everything that I just experienced. Still, while I'm thankful for your support, I somehow feel worse than ever. After all, even if I know who the most suspicious and probably murderous being in this manor is, I have no concrete evidence against them and no way to defend myself should they attack me. What could I even do? Ask the house for a supply of apples to use as ammunition? If you continue to respect the wainscoting, that might be a viable strategy. But what if I do accidentally insult the wainscoting? What if I express the wrong kind of interest in hardwood? What happens to me if the house abandons me? My lady, life and death are two leaves of the same vine. To grow the leaf you want, you must first seed the vine. I appreciate your attempts at consolation, or even worse, advice. But even more than that, I would appreciate a murder weapon. One that I could use to fend off an attempt on my life. I see. Does that mean that you're willing to kill any of the inhabitants of this house should they try to harm you? If I'm being truly honest, no. Yet that terrifies me because... I do not believe that my enemy would hesitate to kill me. Worse still, my enemy has to be one of these people who are pretending to care for me. It is cruel to be trapped in a narrative beyond your control. I thank you for your understanding. There is something horrifying about being trapped within a character that a story is determined to destroy. I do not understand why someone would enjoy creating a character doomed to be destroyed, no matter what that character did. Unfortunately, there are those who believe that in order for themselves to win, someone else must lose. What a cruel and wrong way to see the world. If my investigative genius succeeds, everyone around me succeeds. Why would anyone want to destroy that success? Well, some people are cruel and wrong. So what do you do when someone that terrible controls your fate? In the end, all anyone can do is make choices that reflect their values, and decide which companions should join them on their journey. But what if those companions wishes to destroy me? Will you take responsibility? Will you save the villainess? It's so good. It's so good, and you all should play the demo yourselves, and you should go check out the Kickstarter, which I will link in the comment link below. I will also link the game below on Steam, and you should definitely find it. Go wishlist it on Steam. It's exceptional, really. You absolutely should. Thank you for experiencing this with me. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.